Hey guys, what's going on? Today's video, the Sony ZV-E10. We haven't made a video about this in a while, but there is something that I guess a lot of you haven't done with the Sony ZV-E10, and especially if you're an animal lover, you probably should do this right now. Here's the thing, you need to use the cable that came with your Sony ZV-E10. I have no idea where my cable for the Sony ZV-E10 is, so I'm just going to use a standard USB cable. I'm going to take you guys through the steps that you need to update the firmware. It's the first major firmware update on the Sony ZV-E10. Now it does all kinds of things like you improve the camera stability and something else that's really, really cool. But before we talk about that, let's get into updating this. Now I know this might be a bit...
I don't want to update firmware because it's going to blow up.
It's really, really easy. If you're on Mac, process is the same as on Windows. In this example, we're going to do it on Windows. So let's get into it. First step is to download the firmware from Sony's firmware update site. Really easy, download it to the computer. That's step one. You might have to unzip it, which is cool. And then it starts getting, well, a little bit complicated. Do not plug in the cable, the USB cable that came with it, but we don't have it, with the Sony ZV-E10. Do not plug that in just yet. First step here before you plug anything in is make sure you've got mass storage selected on the Sony ZV-E10. So this is when you plug in the USB cable, it's going to go to mass storage. You need to do that first. It's really, really easy. Set up 3 mass storage. Done. Next step is to run the actual software that you downloaded, whether that's on Mac or PC. Just run the file or unzip it if you need to. And then we're getting into the good stuff where it's all going to blow up. Maybe it's not. Let's find out will this USB cable, that's not the original USB cable, actually work. Because, yeah, it should, right?
12 seconds later.
So here's the thing, this USB cable does not seem to work. So I'm going to unplug it and try again and let's see what happens. And then we're going to have to try another USB-C cable.
15.697 seconds later.
So yeah, not working at all, even though it runs the loop deck. So here's a USB-C cable. This is a Logitech one that I happen to have with a mouse. So let's try this one.
12, oh, who gives a fuck?
So this one has worked. We're in mass storage now. So just keep that in mind. If the first USB-C cable that you have doesn't work, then try another one, unless you have the original Sony one, which probably nobody has. It's somewhere, right? Now we're back into the system software updater, so we're checking the version. We can see it's version 1, and now we need to update it to version 2, which means you can continue. While this is updating here, a really important thing that I probably should have said at the start of the video, but you gotta have at least 3 bars in the battery or a fully charged battery to do this. There potentially is a slight chance that you can destroy the camera here and brick it. I don't think it's gonna happen, but just keep in mind, fully charged battery and you should be good. And the camera will turn itself on and off while all of this is going on, so don't forget about that either. And don't press anything. Don't press anything. If you're like 15 minutes in and nothing's happening, then maybe go, Otherwise, just hold on. That's the most important thing with firmware updates. Hold on. Leave the camera do its thing. So what is the big deal about firmware 2.0 on the Sony ZV-E10? Well, you know, the camera's more stable now, apparently. Not in the stabilization sense, because God, that would ever happen. No, there's an extra function here in this, and it is a biggie. And I am talking about, you know, that amazing subject detection that the Sony cameras have, like the Sony ZV-E10, so it knows there's a human in front of it. It now knows when there's an animal in front of it, which is insanely good. Tragically, I don't have a doggy anymore to test this out on, but try it out yourself and let me know how this works out, because if it's anything as good as it is with the human stuff, it's going to be insane on animals. See you in the next video. Until then, don't stop fighting for yourself.